Hello, my name is Brad. I review tech for creative professionals, and I tend to review tech as it's released. iPad release? Boom, review. Surface Pro release? Boom, review. Super Rainbow Unicorn Coloring Book app? Boom, review. Don't knock it till you try it. But a lot of tech from lesser-known manufacturers often slips through the cracks, and that's what happened with this. This is the Chuwi Hi9 Plus, an inexpensive Android tablet that has an optional active stylus. And that is what I'm going to be taking a look at today. Quick shout out to today's sponsor, Smart News. I've been trying it out and it gives you access to a wide range of articles from trusted news sources. I followed some of my favorite news sources and it helped me discover new ones. It's been a great alternative to getting my news from social media. They even have channels like this one for tech that aggregates the articles for you. I've been using the app for a few weeks now, and the longer I use it, the better it gets. I catch up with what's going on in the morning, maybe check it later on after work, in the evening. Every day it's gotten better, knowing what I like to read, showing me articles that I would otherwise never have found. The app has already figured out that I'm a huge Cleveland Browns fan, and I wouldn't be surprised if by next week it starts sending me notifications saying we are so sorry. I think you should try it too. Down below in the description there is going to be a link so you can download the Smart News app and try it today. So why review the Chuwi Hi9 Plus now? Because it's so cheap. In fact, this is the cheapest Android tablet that I've found that you can get an active stylus for. The tablet itself costs about $200 and the stylus is only $20 more. If you're strapped for cash and you really want something portable that you could draw on that also has a screen, this could fit the bill. It all comes down to what compromises you're willing to make. You could go out there and find cheaper drawing slates, but then you're not drawing directly on the screen. You could get a pen display for around the same price, but those aren't really portable. They need to be plugged into a computer. But an Android tablet like this gives you a little bit of everything. So let's check it out. Spec-wise, it was better than I expected. It's got a 10.8 IPS screen that's 2,560 pixels by 1,600 pixels, and it looks pretty good. It's really bright. It's got a great pixel density. It also has a Helio Deca-core processor, 4 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of onboard storage, and you can even pop a SIM card in there. It's a pretty straightforward Android tablet. There aren't a lot of bells and whistles, but you can get the pen for it, and there's an attachment along the bottom so you could also get a keyboard as well. You make all the quality trade-offs that you would expect here from the price drop. For example, the speakers aren't really that good. In fact, they're kind of terrible.
Here's a blitz. Complete. Great tackle.
I would say the same about the front and the back cameras. Using it for a couple hours at a time was no problem. It seems to hold a charge decently, but recharging it after you've used it for a long time is a bit of a slog. It can take several hours to get the battery back up to 100%. I've been using Android quite a bit lately. My main phone is the Galaxy Note 10 Plus, and also I've been using the Galaxy Tab S6, which is Samsung's latest and greatest tablet. Both of these devices feel incredibly fluid, responsive, and snappy. You swipe with your finger and it's instantaneous. That kind of speed makes your phone feel like an extension of your hand, and from a user experience standpoint, that's a big deal. Jumping over to the Hi9, it feels considerably slower, like my voice right now. Obviously, you could understand what I just said there, but you don't want me to talk that way for the rest of the video. Or do you? Here I'm going to do a drawing test, and I'm using an app called ArtFlow to do this. And as I use the pen, I think the pressure works pretty well, and I'm moving at a pretty good clip. But the first thing I'm noticing, especially on some of these curves, is these lines are kind of uneven. And even as I draw slower, smaller strokes, I find that I'm getting a fair amount of wiggle to them. So even though the pressure of the pen itself is okay, I'm not getting great performance out of the pen. So let's go ahead and run it through some of my basic pen tests and see what we come up with. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do some quick hatch lines here just to see how this performs with quick lines. And overall, quick lines are looking pretty good. Every so often I get a weird wobble, but we're not getting any strange taper or anything like that, which tells us that the pressure is doing pretty well. The other thing I look for when I'm drawing are these slow angled lines, and that's really where this pen falls apart pretty quickly. As you can see, I'm getting very shaky lines, and it seems like the slower that I move, the shakier the lines get. These I would describe as let's see, what's the word? Completely and totally unacceptable. I can't draw with this. And that was my experience using this app. In fact, I was drawing with it a little bit before, and even just in my normal strokes, kind of moving at a decent pace, I was just getting a lot of wobble to these lines. Maybe it's this one particular app. Maybe this particular tablet working with ArtFlow isn't doing so well. So let's move over to something like Infinite Painter and see if we can do a little bit better. Here I am drawing a line, and this is in an application called Infinite Painter. I'm still getting that wiggle. Also, I'm not as familiar with the brushes in this program, but this brush I know already has some smoothing on it. You can tell because it's kind of auto-correcting on it when I do these strokes. I'm not getting sharp lines here. I'm getting very, smooth angles on those overarches. So there is smoothing on it, and I'm still getting a lot of jitter. The other thing I wanted to point out here is that it is a little hard to draw on this right now because there's a screen protector on it. I could probably peel it off if I wanted to. It came with the tablet, but it's a very, very smooth screen protector. And when you're drawing with hard plastic edge on a very smooth screen protector, it doesn't give you a lot of control. So you mix the wiggle with a really slick screen and a really hard nip pen, and this really isn't fun to draw on. I think a matte screen protector would dramatically improve that. That's probably something you could probably hunt down, probably for a different device, maybe a different Android device, and apply to something like this. I'm going to be running through some of my favorite Android drawing apps here, and I'm going to have to make a new video on this one of these days because a lot has changed in the 3 years since I made my last video about my favorite Android drawing apps. I want to see just how they hold up and see if I'm getting the same kind of performance on an app-to-app basis. Now, we already checked out ArtFlow, so we have a pretty good idea of what that's going to bring us. I think right now that's my favorite Android drawing app. We also took a look at Infinite Painter. That's number 2 on my list. Again, we're seeing the same performance there. Let's go to number 3 on my list. This is Autodesk Sketchbook. So if I just take out the pen and I start drawing in Sketchbook, I'm seeing the same exact thing I saw everywhere else. I don't think the lag is quite as bad here, but boy, is some of that line wiggle that I'm getting really intense in this program. The next one I want to check out is a free program. It's called Medibang Paint. It's available on a lot of different platforms. And when I draw with the brush in here, pressure works really well. I am getting really smooth lines in Medibang Paint. I don't know if that's because there's some kind of pen smoothing going on. I would have to look into that, but if you do pick up this tablet, this seems to be the best option. When I slow the lines down, when I slow the lines down, I'm actually getting a lot of jitter to them. But still, I think this is performing better than some of the other applications we checked out. Last on my list, I want to give a shout out to iBez Paint X. And when I draw my slow angled lines in here, iBez actually gives you really nice clean ink lines if you're into that sort of thing. Clearly with this pen, you're not going to get them, unfortunately. So that's how the art apps stack up, and that's how the pen's performing across the board. Pros and cons. This screen looks great. It's higher resolution than I expected. That was definitely the biggest surprise here. It was brighter than I expected. It had a higher resolution than I expected. Everything else with this tablet was pretty much in line with what I expected, but I was hoping that the pen would be better. I think what kills it for me is definitely that pen quality. I think I would be able to accept a little bit of lag on the interface. I think I could even accept a little bit of lag on the pen. Maybe it's kind of right on the edge, but what we're talking about is like half the price of anything else that you want to draw on with a screen. But at the end of the day, once you add in that pen jitter, it's hard to really recommend this. In fact, I would go so far as saying this probably isn't the best fit for you if you're looking to illustrate with it. I think a better option might be to go back a year or two. Take a look at the Galaxy Tab S4, which comes with the pen, or the Galaxy Tab S3. It might be a little harder to find that one because that one's a little bit older, but I think both of those are going to provide better performance, and they're not going to be quite as expensive as the new X6 that just came out this year. I don't think you're going to find those as low as $200, but I wouldn't be surprised if you could find an older one for $300 or $400. The other option in that price point is the standard 7th generation iPad. That's $329. You also have to factor in the cost of the Apple Pencil. That's $100. So what we're really talking about with the iPad is a $429 down payment to get that device. But obviously the upside with the iPad is you're getting one of the best drawing styluses on the market with the Apple Pencil right now. You're getting some of the best apps out there. You're getting a product that you know is going to be good. And I know I sound like an Apple fanboy now, but I think when we're comparing Apple to Android, Apple's just on another level because of the quality of the apps and because of the quality of the pen. So what do you think? Let me know down below in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you in a couple of days.